In Greek mythology, the Cabeiri, or Cabeiri/Cabeiri/1, Ancient Greek, Kappa Beta Epsilon Iota Rho Omicron Iota, Cabeiroi, also transliterated Cabeiri or Cabeiri II, were a group of enigmatic chthonic deities. They were worshipped in a mystery cult closely associated with that of Hephaestus, centered in the North Aegean islands of Lemnos and possibly Samothrace at the Samothrace temple complex and at Thebes. 3. In their distant origins, the Cabeiri and the Samothracian gods may include pre-Greek elements 4 or other non-Greek elements, such as Thracian, Tyrrhenian, Pelasgian 5 Phrygian or Hittite. The Lemnian cult was always local to Lemnos, but the Samothracian mystery cult spread rapidly throughout the Greek world during the Hellenistic period, eventually initiating Romans. The ancient sources disagree about whether the deities of Samothrace were Cabeiri or not, and the accounts of the two cults differ in detail. But the two islands are close to each other, at the northern end of the Aegean, and the cults are at least similar, and neither fits easily into the Olympic pantheon. The Cabeiri were given a mythic genealogy as sons of Hephaestus and Cabeiro. 6. The accounts of the Samothracian gods, whose names were secret, differ in the number and sexes of the gods, usually between 2 and 4, some of either sex. The number of Cabeiri also varies, with some accounts citing 4, often a pair of males and a pair of females, and some even more, such as a tribe or whole race of Cabeiri, often presented as all male. The Cabeiri were also worshipped at other sites in the vicinity, including Syrthopolis in Thrace and various sites in Asia Minor. According to Strabo, Cabeiri are most honored in Imbros and Lemnos, but also in other cities too. The Cabeiri were possibly originally Phrygian or Thracian 9 deities and protectors of sailors, who were imported into Greek ritual. 10. RSP Beeks believes that their name is of non-Indo-European, pre-Greek origin. 11. In the past, the Semitic word kabir, great, has been compared to Kappa Beta Epsilon Iota Rho Omicron Iota since at least Joseph Justus Scaliger in the 16th century, but nothing else seemed to point to a Semitic origin, until the idea of great gods expressed by the Semitic root kbr was definitively attested for North Syria in the 13th century BCE, in texts from Mr published by D. Arnaud in 1985-87. Friedrich Wilhelm Schelling connected the Greek word to the Hebrew, kaver friend, associate, and via this to several priest names as one attached to the Persians, Shavrim, linking them to the Dioscuri or priestly blacksmiths alternatively. 12. T. J. Wackernagle produced an Indian etymology in 1907. 13. In 1925 A. H. Sayce had suggested a connection to Hittite Habari, looters, outlaws, but subsequent discoveries have made this implausible on phonological grounds. Dacian compares Kappa Beta Epsilon Iota Rho Omicron Iota to the Sumerian word kabar, copper. 14. The name of the Cabeiri recalls Mount Cabeiros, a mountain in the region of Barakintia in Asia Minor, closely associated with the Phrygian mother goddess. The name of Cadmilus, Kappa Alpha Delta Mu Lambda Omicron, or Casmilos, one of the Cabeiri who was usually depicted as a young boy, was linked even in antiquity to Camillus, an old Latin word for a boy attendant in a cult, likely a loan from the Etruscan language citation needed, which may be related to Lemnian. 15. However, according to Beeks, the name Cadmilus may be of pre-Greek origin, as seems to be the case with the name Cadmus. They were most commonly depicted as two people, an old man, Axiocersus, and his son, Cadmilus. Due to the cult's secrecy, however, their exact nature and relationship with other ancient Greek and Thracian religious figures remained mysterious. As a result, the membership and roles of the Cabeiri changed significantly over time, with common variants including a female pair, Axiorus and Axiocersa, and twin youths, frequently confused with Castor and Pollux, who were also worshipped as protectors of sailors. Roman antiquarians identified the Cabeiri with the 3 Capitoline deities or with the Diponades. The Lemnians were originally non-Greek, they were Hellenized after Miltiades conquered the island for Athens in the 6th century BCE. In Lemnos the cult of the Cabeiri survived, according to archaeological evidence, through the conquest. An ancient sanctuary dedicated to the Cabeiri is identifiable by traces of inscriptions, and seems to have survived the process of Hellenization. Walter Burkert records that wine jars are the only characteristic group of finds from the Cabeirium of Lemnos, and that the Cabeirium was the location for initiation into an ancient mystery cult. 18. However, due to the secret nature of mystery cults in the ancient world, little survives to indicate what was involved in these initiation ceremonies. Indeed, Hugh Bowden notes that on the basis of our evidence we do not know what happened at Lemnos beyond the fact of initiation, and that we have no descriptions and nothing on which even to base speculation. 19. However, according to the Encyclopaedia Britannica 11th edition, Lemnos held an annual festival of the Cabeiri, lasting 9 days, during which all the fires were extinguished and fire brought from Delos. 17. The geographer Strabo reported, Geogr 10,3,21, that in Lemnos, the mother, there was no father, of the Cabeiri was Cabeiro, Greek, Kappa Alpha Beta Epsilon Iota Rho, herself, a daughter of Nereus, one of the old men of the sea, and a goddess whom the Greeks might have called Rhea. In general, Greek myth identifies the Cabeiri as divine craftsmen, sons or grandsons of Hephaestus, who was also chiefly worshipped on Lemnos. Aeschylus wrote a tragedy called the Cabeiroi, which apparently featured the deities as a chorus greeting the Argonauts at Lemnos and the Argonauts' initiation into the cult of the Cabeiri. He Samothracians were also originally non-Greek, and are associated with the Trojans and the Pelasgians. They used a foreign language in the temple through Julius Caesar's time. 20. Samothrace offered an initiatory mystery, which promised safety and prosperity to seamen. The secret of these mysteries has largely been kept, but we know that of 3 things about the ritual: the aspirants were asked the worst action they had ever committed. Times, when the traveler Pausanias, always alert to the history of cults, learned that it was Demeter Cabeiri who instigated the initiation cult there in the name of Prometheus and his son Atenaios. Walter Burkert, 1985, writes, this points to guilds of smiths analogous to the Lemnian Hephaestos. The votive dedications at Thebes are to a Cabeiros, Greek, Kappa Beta Epsilon Iota Rho Omicron, in the singular, and childish toys like votive spinning tops for pays suggest a manhood initiation. Copious wine was drunk, out of characteristic cups that were ritually smashed. Fat, primitive dwarves, similar to the followers of Silenus, with prominent genitalia were painted on the cups. Thebes is connected to Samothrace in myth, primarily the wedding of Cadmus and Harmonia, which took place there.